When it comes to wildlife photography, a non-negotiable is having a fast and accurate autofocus system. So in this video, I want to show you the 4 key camera settings that you can change to make sure you're getting the absolute most out of your camera. And if you're new to the channel, then hey, I'm Rich. On this channel, I like to talk about wildlife photography and different cool sites that you can visit around the UK to get the absolute most out of your hobby. If that sounds like something you might be interested in, consider hitting that subscribe button down below. But without further ado, let's get started talking about our first tip, which is to make sure that your camera is set to autofocus continuous. So why is this so important? Well, because wildlife photography is going to be one of the most unpredictable hobbies that you're ever going to participate in. One moment you might be taking a photograph of a duck that's nice and still on the lake, and you're absolutely nailing your autofocus, and then the next moment something might spook that duck and it flies off, and then you would have missed the chance to capture those awesome flying shots. So the big benefit of having your camera in continuous autofocus, as the name suggests, is that it's constantly trying to track your subject. And this means should anything unexpected occur, then your camera is going to be trying to track that subject as best as it can. Now, the other thing that might introduce little bits of motion is yourself. Even if you're trying to be as stationary as possible, there are still little bits of movement that you might do, either forwards or backwards. And given that often in wildlife photography, we've got a very small depth of field, and these little bits of movement, especially when it comes to wildlife photography, can move your focus area from being very sharp on the eye to perhaps focusing on the nose, which just isn't going to be as good a photo. So moving on to our next tip, I want to talk about focus area. Now, the big takeaway from this is we want to try and guide our camera into where it needs to look. Ultimately, your camera has no idea what's in front of you. It's just looking for different parts of contrast or things that might look like an animal. So in very busy scenes, such as trying to photograph little birds on branches, your camera might end up focusing on one of the branches instead of the birds that you're looking for. So this means when you've got a very cluttered scene, like shooting birds through bushes, that you'll want to shrink your focus area to maybe just using spot. This means that you can focus on just the bird that you're looking for, and you're not going to be getting any of those bushes. Whereas if it's a less cluttered scene, then you could use a wider focus area. For me, I never like to use the widest focus area, as I still feel like I can focus my camera using something like zone autofocus, which will be taking in maybe about 75% of the scene, and it will just give me that slightly faster autofocus than using a wide focus area. Right, so moving on to tip number 3 now, and it kind of relates to our previous point, in that our camera has no idea what subject it's supposed to be looking for. Fortunately now, more modern cameras have different subject detection algorithms in them. This means that if you're trying to photograph an animal, you can set your subject detection to animal, or if you've got an even more modern camera, then I know that they've got things like bird autofocus or even insect autofocus, which is mental. It's just going to give your camera more of a chance of looking for that specific subject. Okay, now on to tip number 4, and this is where we're going to get a little bit more advanced. So if you're a beginner photographer, applying the first 3 tips is going to make an absolute world of difference, whereas this final tip is going to be a bit more niche for when you get a little bit more advanced, and that is to look at the tracking sensitivity in your camera. Now, more modern cameras will allow you to choose how sticky you want your autofocus to be. Now, depending on how you've set your autofocus and how sticky you've set it to be, will influence how quickly your autofocus is going to jump off from your subject to something else if your subject gets blocked. For me personally, I like to leave mine in the standard setting. I know that's not like the most exotic and fancy response to this, but for my specific camera and the subjects that I like to shoot, I found that this has given me the best results. Now, depending on the subjects that you like to shoot or the camera that you have, you might want to try and experiment between a more sticky autofocus and a more responsive autofocus, as you're going to get very different results depending on the situation. Now, I really hope you found these tips useful. If you did, be sure to hit that like button down below. It helps to push this video out to more people. And finally, thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.